All right, so we're going to work on animating the stick figure. The first thing we want to do is guidelines for where the stick figure is going to be walking. We're going to be using the black arrows and just change. I have my tools here. I'm going to do my 3 lines. Save view. I have the ground, I have where his waist goes, and then also where the top of his head goes. It's up to you guys exactly where those lines go. I'm not going to be too picky about that. Let's say this is going to happen in 75 frames. So I'm going to insert a keyframe. So I have in frame 1 and in frame 75, they look the same because those lines are going to remain there the whole time, so that way I can see where my stick figure is walking. Now I'm going to add a new layer, and this is going to be the stick figure's body. I'm going to change the color of what I'm working on, of the tool I'm using. If it's easier, you can zoom in, probably will be. At first, he is not going to have a head. So that was in my first frame. I'm going to move ahead for 2 more frames. Insert a keyframe. Now he automatically copied over, so you can delete him. And then turn on your onion skin. See, that way now you can see better on this than you could on my laptop. He's a faded version of himself. So I'm going to move him over just a tiny bit and spread his legs farther apart. And he's now going to have his hands down a little bit more. Move ahead. I'm going to insert another keyframe. Delete him. Legs are going back together. Oops. I had his shoulders sticking out a little funny. And his arms are down even more. Insert another keyframe. Don't forget to delete them. So he goes from here. And you see how there's the onion skin? It shows what's before and after. It's the faded versions in the background. You can also go back. If you want, you can copy it. Insert a keyframe. Oh, that's not what I wanted to paste. I guess it's not allowing me to paste the whole frame. Paste frames, there we go. And what you can do is go back to this tool here, the selection tool, and move it, because obviously he's not going to be way back there. So really, I just have 3 separate ones, 3 or 4 that I've drawn. Copy. Insert keyframe. And then to paste, it's up here. Paste frames. Don't forget to move them. So I have my guy, and he's walking. Now you're going to do a motion tween. Create motion tween, say OK, because that's just converting it. Create motion tween. Now remember to play it back you can just move the red bar, or you can hit play. Now if I want to slow him down, I can move my frames a little bit farther apart also by grabbing the keyframe and dragging it. Another thing, let me just move that one back a little bit. Another thing you can do is you can just copy the frames themselves. Oh, I guess you gotta do one at a time, I apologize. Copy, and then you can paste it. That way you don't have to redraw what you have. Now, what you want to do, go back and add another layer. Oops, my caps lock on. Add another layer. You don't need a stroke on here, so you can turn that off. My fill color, for now I'm going to do it, oh, you know what, let's go back to this layer. For now I'm going to do his head in a different color just so it's easier to keep track of. Head's not a perfect circle. You can do it off. Don't, like the way it used to be in Photoshop, if you hold shift it locks it in proportion. If you let go, you can keep his head out of proportion. So what you're going to want to do is make sure you're working on the head layer. Just use the shape tool. You don't have to go crazy drawing anything specific. On each one of the keyframes that you have for the body, you're also going to add a keyframe for the head. So I want to move the head. Now, like I said, it's not just going to float there. We want it to bounce around a little bit. So if you go to the transform tool, you can move it. Insert another keyframe. Move his head back a little bit. Now you also need to add tweens up on that layer as well. Make sure his head always stays centered. I'm not going to take the time to move it too much. Oh, I'm sorry, you actually don't have to delete it because it's the same head, we're just moving it. So we have here. This is where, like how I said the onion skin can get confusing sometimes. I'm going to turn the onion skin off. So, because this isn't that detailed, you might not need the onion skin. Make sure you add the tweens. Remember, you know the tweens are there when that color appears in between. So there you go, he's walking, and you just want to keep it going all the way across. So in the 75 frames, you want him to go all the way across to the other side.